never once threw or even intended to throw Mike McCarthy under the bus. That's what I wanted to hold the trophy for. You know, you want to win games and do great things with those type of legends who put in more time and work than Mike McCarthy ever did. So those are the kind of guys that I have so much sympathy and hurt for.
Are you in favor of curtains?
Yes, 1,000%.
Would you talk to Jerry about that?
I mean, y'all doing my job.
So, big news. Stephen Diggs is out for the season, and the Houston Texans were missing Nico Collins during Sunday Night Football against the Detroit Lions. That meant Tank Dell was going to get more targets. But here's the thing. I had no clue who the Texans' second wide receiver would be. This made it tough to predict how many receiving yards anyone would get right at the start of the game. Then the game kicks off, and guess what? John Mechie comes out swinging, racking up over 65 receiving yards early on. By halftime, I knew I had to make a move. I hopped onto Prize Picks to check his live projection and saw he only needed 6 more receiving yards in the second half for my pick to hit. It didn't take a genius to figure out this was a no-brainer. While I was at it, I noticed David Montgomery only needed 15 more rushing yards in the second half to hit his mark too. The way the game was flowing, it was an easy call. Let's be real, you didn't need to be a genius to predict what happened this past weekend. The Dallas Cowboys got absolutely wrecked on national TV. Usually, Cowboys fans circle a matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles on their calendar as one of the biggest games of the season. But this time, things felt way different. The Cowboys came into this game looking rough, and honestly, even with Dak Prescott leading the charge, I didn't expect much. Apparently, neither did Jerry Jones, because it was clear from the start that this wasn't going to be their night.
We've won 3 games with Dak. Okay, so I'm just saying, we weren't playing well with Dak at all. I thought that basically we'd look better tonight without Dak. I thought we'd look better on offense than we looked without Dak. Seen Cooper play better than we played tonight. Philadelphia's got a lot to do with that. That's what it is.
So, apparently, Jerry Jones and a small group of diehard Cowboys fans thought Cooper Rush would magically outshine Dak Prescott. Yeah, really. Now, if you're sitting there wondering, why on earth would anyone think the backup QB is better than the starter? Let me break it down for you. At the start of the 2022 season, Dak Prescott got injured again, which forced Cooper Rush into the starting role for 5 games. And to his credit, he held his own. The Cowboys went 4-1 during that stretch, with Rush throwing 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and completing 58% of his passes. Not bad for a backup, right? But here's the kicker. Back then, the Cowboys had one of the best defenses in the NFL and a solid rushing game to lean on. Fast forward to this season, and things couldn't be more different. We've talked about this plenty on the channel, especially after an offseason where Jerry Jones said this.
All in, all in, all in. We're all in with these young guys coming up. We're all in with knowing that you have to go.
The Cowboys didn't do much this offseason besides lose key players and overpay to keep their current roster. It's something NFL teams deal with, especially when you draft it, as well as the Cowboys have in recent years. Eventually, you've got to pay for all that premium talent. The problem? The Cowboys would always do it smartly. Jerry Jones has a knack for playing poker at the worst times. Most teams handle contract extensions early, like Trevor Lawrence's or Jordan Love's deals, or by April, like players such as Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, or A.J. Brown. Why? To avoid holdouts during training camp. But not the Cowboys. CeeDee Lamb held out of training camp until late August when they finally agree on a contract extension. That delay, it can mess with team chemistry. And if that wasn't enough, the Cowboys lost key pieces on defense and offense. On defense, they said goodbye to Dorrance Armstrong, Neville Gallimore, Dan Fowler, Stephen Gilmore, and Jaron Kearse. On offense, they lost Tyron Smith. Oh, and let's not forget Dan Quinn, the mastermind behind their defense. So yeah, it's no surprise this year feels like a transition for the Cowboys. There were chances to make a splash, like signing Derrick Henry, but they passed, claiming they couldn't afford him. At this point, you didn't need to be a genius to see that this season was going to be a tough one for Dallas.
Derrick Henry didn't fit because principally of managing the cap in anticipation of the players that we were going to sign weeks later, or anticipation of the players we're going to be signing in the future.
The Cowboys didn't do much this offseason besides lose key players and overpay to keep their roster intact. That's something NFL teams face, especially when you draft it as well as the Cowboys have recently. Eventually, you've got to pay for all that premium talent. The problem? The Cowboys don't always handle it wisely. Jerry Jones seems to enjoy playing poker at the worst times. Most teams lock in contract extensions early, Look at Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love, Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, or A.J. Brown. This prevents holdouts and keeps the team focused heading into training camp. But the Cowboys? They waited until late August to work out a deal with CeeDee Lamb, who missed most of camp during his holdout. That kind of delay can seriously hurt team chemistry. Then there's the issue of all the talent they lost. On defense, they said goodbye to Dorrance Armstrong, Neville Gallimore, Dan Fowler, Stephen Gilmore, and Jaron Kearse. Offensively, they lost Tyron Smith, and let's not forget Dan Quinn, the defensive genius behind their recent success. It's clear this season is a transitional one for the Cowboys, but here's the kicker. There were opportunities to make big moves, like signing Derrick Henry, who was reportedly interested in joining the team. The problem? The Cowboys didn't even bother to call him. At this point, it's hard not to wonder if Dallas is its own worst enemy.
They involved in the Derrick Henry sweepstakes?
Dallas didn't even, not at all, know what's going on over there, and but no, they weren't making 10. The Cowboys never called at all.
Wow, never even picked up the phone. Now, were they on your radar as you're going through the process? Or did that surprise you? I'm stunned hearing that the Cowboys never even picked up the phone.
That's a great organization, and I mean, it's been a great opportunity, but I'm thankful that I ended up here in Baltimore, somewhere I wanted.
This season for the Cowboys has been downright embarrassing. At the start of the season, Dak Prescott was trying to rally the team with a montage moment, making bold statements. Fast forward a few weeks, and he's caught on national TV saying, "We suck." Ouch. Going into this game, it was obvious there's no hope for the Cowboys making the playoffs, and honestly, that's fine. I came into this season thinking they'd be an 8-9 team at best. But here's the real issue. The Cowboys currently rank 24th in cap space across the NFL, and that's before they even think about re-signing Micah Parsons. And if you think the roster is their only problem, think again. One of the biggest offseason moves the Cowboys made was giving CeeDee Lamb the second highest contract for a wide receiver in the NFL, a crucial piece of the offense, no doubt. But playing at Jerry World comes with a strange twist. The stadium, designed by Jerry Jones, has a huge flaw. Sunlight streams onto the field during games, blinding players. No, seriously, you can literally see CeeDee Lamb struggling to catch a pass because the sun is in his eyes. And when Lamb hinted that the sun issue is a real problem that needs fixing, Jerry Jones' reaction, let's just say it left everyone stunned. Here's how the back and forth between Lamb and a reporter went down.
Are you in favor of curtains?
Yes, 1,000%.
Will you talk to Jerry about that?
I mean, y'all doing my job right now.
Now, Jerry Jones' reaction to all of this, completely insane. A clearly frustrated Jerry Jones had some choice words when asked about the sun affecting play at AT&T Stadium. Instead of addressing the issue seriously, he seemed to shrug it off, almost as if the problem didn't exist. His response left fans and players scratching their heads, wondering if he even cared about the conditions his team is playing in. It's moments like these that really make you question the leadership and priorities of the Cowboys front office.
By the way, we know where the sun's going to be when we decide to flip the coin or not. So we do know where the damn sun's going to be in our own stadium.
The reporter asked Jerry why they don't just put curtains over the windows to block the sun, and Jerry's response is straight up wild. He snaps, saying, well, let's tear the damn stadium down and build another one. Are you kidding me? Every team that comes in here has the same issues. The world knows where the sun is. You know that almost a year in advance. Someone asked me about the sun. What about the sun? Where's the moon? It's honestly a bizarre hill to die on. Players are saying it's clearly an issue. Dak Prescott has had trouble with the sun in his eyes multiple times while trying to find CeeDee Lamb. So now the Cowboys face a real dilemma. Either the sun is in your quarterback's eyes when he's trying to spot his receivers, or it's in your receiver's eyes while trying to make the catch. Classic Cowboys, right? Fans are fed up. They're frustrated about the lack of moves like signing Derrick Henry, the major design flaw in the stadium, and the trade for Jonathan Mingo. Some fans are saying, wait, Mingo was a second-round pick last year and he's still on rookie contract. While that's true, the Cowboys overpaid for a player who hasn't contributed much this season. They traded a fourth-round pick, which is basically a late third-round pick for a player who's still unproven. Meanwhile, other teams like the Chiefs, Bills, and Steelers made midseason trades for receivers, and their new guys contributed right away. DeAndre Hopkins scored in his second game with the Chiefs. Amari Cooper scored in his first game with the Bills. The Steelers' Mike Williams did the same, but the Cowboys traded for Jonathan Mingo, and he was inactive for his first game. And they didn't even need a wide receiver. They needed a halfback. It's such a mess. This all really hit rock bottom when the Cowboys put Cooper Rush in the game, then pulled him for Trey Lance, and just 20 seconds later pulled Lance back out for Rush again. At this point, I was just messing around on X, formerly Twitter, joking about how Trey Lance was the Cowboys' final hope. But really, the situation is a disaster on so many levels. But what really made me decide to make this video today is what Micah Parsons had to say about his head coach, Mike McCarthy. Now let me start by saying I've thought in the past that Mike McCarthy might be the issue with the Cowboys. But this year, I don't think it's him. I think if you gave any team this roster, they have similar struggles. The Cowboys have always had great roasters. It's the management and coaching around those roasters that have held them back from winning a Super Bowl. And that's me being objective. I've said this before, last year's team had Super Bowl potential. Sure, the running game was weak, but our defense and offense were strong enough that, with the right game plan, we could have been Super Bowl contenders. The problem was we didn't have that game plan because Mike McCarthy isn't exactly known for his game planning. I felt the same way the year before, but coming into this year, I knew things wouldn't be the same, especially with all the key pieces we lost. Our identity as a team is gone, and it feels like reality is finally hitting Micah Parsons, who had this to say about Mike McCarthy.
Mike's on the final year of his contract, so outside there's of course going to be questions. What's the sentiment inside the locker room, and what do you tell people who are wondering about whether McCarthy will be your coach next year?
You know, that's above my pay grade about if Mike is coaching again next year. But, you know, all coaching aside, coaching, you know, Mike can leave and go wherever he wants. But guys, I kind of feel bad for guys like Zach Martin and guys who might be on their last year or on their way out, you know, because that's what I wanted to hold the trophy for. You know, you want to win games and do great things with those type of legends who put in more time and work than Mike McCarthy ever did. So those are the kind of guys that I have so much sympathy and hurt for.
I'm not a fan of taking things out of context and sensationalizing them. If you just read the transcript of Micah Parsons' interview, you might think he's saying something like, Mike McCarthy can leave and go wherever he wants. I don't care, I only care about Zach Martin. But that's not really what he's trying to say. What Micah is getting at is that if McCarthy gets fired, he could still land another job in the NFL. He could continue his career and have another shot at a Super Bowl as a head coach. But players like Zach Martin, they might be nearing the end of their careers. This could be one of their last opportunities to play meaningful football and actually win a Super Bowl. Micah is saying McCarthy can go on to another team and chase that opportunity, but guys like Zach Martin might not have that luxury. That's how I interpreted it. But of course, you know the mainstream media is going to twist this narrative, especially with the heat on McCarthy's job security this season. Given how poorly the Cowboys have been performing, they'll run wild with it. And sure enough, they're suggesting things like this.
I think he is talking like that after a game. Bro, you've been missing all these games with the injury. Last time I checked, the head coach is a Super Bowl winning coach. And I know the season hasn't gone the way that everyone is expected to go and all that, but for you to sit there in the locker room right after your team gets pummeled and to just undress your head coach in that manner, you know, spout and say all this type of stuff. There used to be a time when there's a little bit of respect, a little decorum in the locker room, because at the end of the day, it was about we didn't do enough. Okay, you gonna go out here and talk about your head coach, basically your head coach not working, not doing anything to try to prepare the team? I just think it's a bunch of BS, man. I really do.
This is my favorite part about the mainstream media. It's so obvious that they didn't actually watch the video. They probably just skimmed through a transcript, saw what Micah Parsons said, and thought, oh my god, Micah Parsons wants his coach to leave. That's exactly the problem with mainstream media these days. They twist things without understanding the full context. And honestly, Rex Ryan goes off on this exact issue on Get Up.
Total BS. You're exactly right. And look, coaches are there at some days 20 hours a day.
Yeah.
For 2 or 3 days at least during the week. The hours they put in it's unmatched. Mike McCarthy, he doesn't deserve this damn comment. No coach does. Look, there's some horrible coaches out there, but none of them deserve this. The kind of work that they put in as coaches, like most players know that these dudes, you can forget about it. You're giving up family time. You're giving up all kinds of stuff in your life. Sitting back, I don't care how talented he is. That is absolutely BS. If you would work half as freaking hard as a damn coach does, maybe you'd be able to play every damn game. Maybe your team wouldn't just be a bunch of punks and lay it down every damn week like you're doing. How about being a damn football team? You're going to sell your damn coach out? It's a crock of you know what?
Yes.
Again, I think the issue is that they're just reading a transcript of what happened. But in this case, to really understand what Micah Parsons meant, you had to watch the video of his comments to get the full context of the situation.
That I'm just missing games because of injury, like it's just some injury after I suffered a significant injury playing the game that we love. Someone who's been around teams and legends at that can say, like, that's how I know we all have to see through the BS of what these TV analysts are trying to do and, you know, provide us and basically take words. I never once threw or even intended to throw Mike McCarthy under the bus. Like I said, he's one of the most winningest coach. He is a Super Bowl champ. I never once brung up his past. And the question that was asked was about here in the Dallas Cowboys, did I see Mike McCarthy in our future? And I said, that's above my pay grade.
Then Rex Ryan takes that and comes up with a wild idea.
No, look, and here's the crazy thing. Look, they got to restart, but they got to do something that, in my opinion, like, how are you going to fix it? Well, I look at a couple of teams recently. All right, I look at the Lions. Who'd they hire? One of their former players, right? Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
Okay. How about the Houston Texans?
Former
right
player.
Down the road. Former player, one of their former players.
D'Amico Ryans.
D'Amico Ryans. All right. I can see Aaron Glenn going to New Orleans next year. All right, or the Jets. You know, a former player. All right. Deion Sanders may be in play here, and I'm going to tell you, they need something. They need to have somebody that has the pride in that damn organization. Being a Dallas Cowboy, the pride you take in it. And by the way, Deion, everywhere he's been, has been kicking, you know what. All right, Jackson State, they were unbelievable when he was there. He takes Colorado. Right now, they're 7-2. Nobody saw that coming. They're playing in the big, you know, whatever, the damn
Big 12,
now.
yeah.
As a content creator and not a Cowboys fan, do I want Deion Sanders as the next coach of the Dallas Cowboys? Absolutely. Can you imagine the content? It would be a total dumpster fire, and let's be honest, it's the most Jerry Jones move ever. Why not? We just gave Dak Prescott the biggest contract in NFL history. The guy's got a $151 million dead cat hit next year if we decide to cut him. But sure, let's tank for Shadow Sanders and bring in prime time. At least it'll sell jerseys, boost the ratings, right? Forget the fact that this team has holes all over it, and we no longer have a defensive identity because we lost our best players and defensive coordinator last offseason to the Washington Commanders. Oh, and by the way, we've got a rookie protecting Dak's blind side. Yeah, let's just slap a Band-Aid on this mess with a flashy Deion Sanders hire. Look, the Dallas Cowboys have dug themselves into a massive hole. We've got money locked into Dak, CD, and soon Micah Parsons. I just hope they don't make the Micah Parsons situation worse than it already is. Honestly, they should just extend him and trade him for multiple first-round picks if they really want to go that route. The reality is this team is at a crossroads. They need to seriously consider a full-scale rebuild. The window of opportunity has slammed shut. With so many holes on both sides of the ball, a flashy draft pick isn't going to fix this. Travis Hunter won't save this team. It's not just about coaching anymore, it's about management. And right now, that's where the Cowboys are failing. We had our chance over the last few years with the Dak Prescott era, but unfortunately, we didn't get it done. And now, things are about to go from bad to worse. Hopefully, this is the last time I have to talk about this. But knowing the Cowboys, they'll keep coming up with new and creative ways to pull me back into this disaster. So, if you're not a Cowboys fan or you're tired of hearing about them, my sincerest apologies. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. We might have just found out which team Shadow Sanders actually wants to play for, and spoiler alert, it's not the Dallas Cowboys. I'm your boy, helmet to helmet, dropping the mic until our next upload.